Yeah, good morning again. I've got the pleasure to open that conference with hopefully an inspiring talk to you guys. It's about the 5 key dilemmas of projects and why projects fail, and I will tell you a lot about some bullshit stuff that's out there that you should realize and recognize, you know, if you're in the field of project management. But first of all, I would like to thank you. First of all, the guys who've organized this fantastic conference. It's such an honor to be here. Give a big hand to the organizers. Thank you very much. And of course, I would like to thank you. As part of this talk, you will realize why it's such a big thing to attend these kind of conferences, to learn and grow from others, to expand your knowledge, to expand your resonance, your ideas, and increase your tool set that you have with you in your entire, for your career. So, my name is Thorsten Körting, as I said already, and I'm in the field of project management for the last 25 years. And I've specialized over the last 10 years of projects that are, or on projects that are in crisis and projects that are really suffering to bring them back on track. So currently, I'm in a big project in Germany. It's got a contract value of about 1 billion euros that is in deep shit and that needs to be turned around. And you could imagine, you know, there's a lot of watermelon reporting out there. So, but I've got another life. That other life is my family. As you can see here, a little bit stretched here. I always say I have 5 mouths to feed, which is the biggest one is myself, and then I've got my 2 little kids as well as my wife and a little dog that joined the family. And I promised one thing, and that's why I need your help right now. I promised one thing because you can see there are 2 little kids. One is 6-year-old and the other one is 12-year-old, and they also watch television. And what they realized a year ago, that there's something going on in the Ukraine that is not right. And I'm not here to judge that, not at all, but, you know, they are a little bit scared about their dad, you know, going to the Ukraine. Even, you know, a day before the flight, they said, "Oh, Papa, please don't go." And I said, "It's all safe. They're all great people out there. I will send you pictures when I arrive, when I'm in the hotel, and even, you know, when I start the conference." So I would like you to just, you know, raise your hand, wave, be happy, and I can make a photo that I can send over to them, that it's all good. Could you go ahead? Just something, yeah. Hey! Fantastic. Yeah, I will share this photo with you. Such a great honor to be here. So, the biggest message I need to tell you today is the worst as well. Projects do fail. And I will show you some statistics and some reasons. No matter how good you are, no matter how good the processes and tools and methodologies are, projects do fail at some stage. They might not deliver on their values, they might not deliver on their benefits, they might not deliver the outcomes they're supposed to deliver, they might be over budget, they might be well beyond over time, and I will send you or tell you some examples. So projects do fail. But, you know, from the NASA, you know, the American Space Agency, there is this concept, and this is a great book to read for everybody who is in the rocket business or try to understand how this works, is failure is not an option. You know, sending people into space is the biggest endeavor, and every single risk needs to be mitigated. And everybody might know NASA. It's a totally project management-driven organization, and I had the honor to present at NASA about the watermelon status. So, failure is not an option at NASA. However, in our world, it is an option, and as I said, it's a given. So projects do fail. And we need to be prepared. It's not about how to run a project well, it's about to mitigate the risk of project failure. So, but there are some reasons over the last couple of, I would say almost decades, that have changed how we need to manage projects. And there's a fantastic book about this, which is from Thomas Friedman. Probably you should write this down. It's already 10 or 15 years old, but it's still leaps ahead of what I've seen in other areas, and it's called The World is Flat. And it describes 10 flatteners that enabled us to work globally. Without these flatteners, we wouldn't sit here. Or at least some of us wouldn't sit here, you know, especially the ones who traveled thousands of kilometers to come here. So projects have changed due to these flatteners. So I will just briefly run you through those flatteners. Number one is, first of all, in 1989, the Berlin Wall went down. And that's what it was a huge change, because finally it ended the Cold War. And secondly, it opened up the entire eastern part to work with as an additional workforce to contribute to whatever kind of products and projects that need to be done in the world. Without that, there were two areas, and with the fall of the Berlin Wall, this entire thing has changed. Number two, the internet. 1995, 1994, you know, that's where the tipping point has reached and the internet flooded the world. And with the internet, I mean, you all know what happened in the last 20 years. The entire world has changed, and it became even more flat. The number three, even if some of us might hate the Microsoft Office suite, it's a key driver that we are able to exchange documents throughout the world and are able to collaborate on specific documents and content as a team, even if we are not sitting together. So that was a huge game changer, including HTML and HTTP protocol and some other protocols that are out there that standardized the world how we work. This all has changed in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And therefore, now even I'm able to work everywhere in the world. Yeah, I sit in my hotel room or sit here, I flip my laptop open and I'm able to work. Doesn't matter where I am. I dial into a telephone conference and it doesn't even matter. Nobody cares where I am as long as I'm mentally, physically, or not physically, but I don't know how you would call it, in the room, so to speak. Then open sourcing. So some of you might be developers and you might contribute or participate in open source projects. Linux is a huge example of how worldwide development forces are contributing to a specific code and operating system that runs even half of the entire business. Google, Amazon, the entire cloud is built up on Linux. Number five, outsourcing. This enabled us to outsource specific lower value functions to other firms or to other countries. And those countries have dramatically benefited from that approach. And I need to show you this, if it's still here. I put it there. So I've got a 2-day workshop on Sunday and Monday, and I compiled an 80-page compendium. There were 8 people in the world working for me to compile that compendium. Because, you know, I'm a busy project manager, you know, and I have to deal with all these requests, you know, speaking workshops and stuff like that. And if I would like to add great value, I need to compile great stuff. So I can't do that on my own. So I outsource specific activities to compile this compendium. So everybody who's attending the workshop on Sunday and Monday, of course, you're all invited to still do so and talk to Valeria and others, you know, to be part of that workshop. In the afternoon, I do a workshop. I will show you that compendium. So even for us, as single average individuals, it's possible to outsource activities in the world. This hasn't been possible 20 years ago. Not that easy. So offshoring is a big thing. Of course, you outsource the entire manufacturing of goods to other countries. The next thing is supply chaining. So on-time delivery is the big word. So especially Walmart has driven that to perfection. So they receive the goods when they are required in their stores. Insourcing, it's not so much perceived in which areas insourcing is done. For example, Papa John's, which is a pizza brand in the US, the entire process from doing the pizza, from receiving the orders, up to the delivery of that pizza, is being done by UPS. Papa John's is just a brand. They just do the recipes, they just do the marketing. The rest has been insourced by UPS, and they do the entire fulfillment, from the order up to the delivery. Informing, something that became a commodity in our world already. So you've got Google that you can answer almost any questions. If Siri is not able to answer the question, you ask Google. And this is the acceleration of the number of requests, search requests to Google. And as you can see here in 2014, it's 2,095 billion requests just for Google. Imagine who you've asked these questions, 20 years ago. You called your mom or your dad, or you suffered because you couldn't get the answer. The information is out there. Knowledge is for free. And you've got the knowledge as information steroids. You have this knowledge at your fingertips. No matter where you are in the world, the entire information is in the palm of your hands. So this book was written like 10, 15 years ago. So there are 3 more that I have identified as an individual. So let's see what Thomas Friedman comes up with. It's the world of apps, especially who is an app developer and who has developed an app and contributed it to the App Store. It's amazing where these apps are bought, right? In the entire world, you can make money if you've got a great idea. Yeah, I saw that smile. So the world of apps is one thing. Then the new trend is sharing. We don't have to own things anymore. We share them. Yeah, so in about 10 years, you might not own a car anymore. You just share a car. You call an Uber, or you share a car, it's somewhere on the street, and you book it for half an hour, and then you drop it somewhere else. Super efficient. And it happens, from your neighborhood up to Airbnb to Uber, park at my house, whatsoever. You share your stuff that you have. And number 13 is the Internet of Things. Everything is connected, so everything will have an IP address at the end and will talk to each other. So these are 13 drivers that made the world flat. However, it's a dramatic change how we have to manage projects. I still remember the projects that I worked in like 10 to 25 years ago, where all the project members were sitting in one office in the same floor and collaborating and working with each other. Even the guys from India had to fly in because there wasn't any internet, there wasn't any stable Microsoft Office suite, and there wasn't any opportunity to collaborate over a distance. So we had to fly the developers in, which was still cheaper than the developers from Germany. But they had to sit at the same office. Now with the distribution opportunities and with these flatteners, it's a dramatic change for project management, and I'm sure you have perceived that in some of your projects already. So what do the statistics say? This is a statistic of 2006, and I don't know why they haven't done a statistic after that, because I can tell you the number has increased. I'm sorry that this is in German, but it's just, it's a give and take, right? There were 10 speakers on stage. 5 introduced themselves in English. I was able to understand it. The other 5, I don't know, Ukraine, Russia, some other language. So I put some German slides in here. This is the revenge. All right, so what it basically says is that more than a third of every project fails, and it doesn't deliver to their values and their benefits and to their outcomes. And this number has dramatically increased over the last couple of years due to the reasons I just talked about. So what are the reasons? And now look really careful, because you can mitigate these reasons. This was a joke, and you will realize the joke in about 2 slides. So first reason why projects are failing is you've got unclear requirements and outcomes. That's the reason number 1 in the study of the GPM. GPM is the Deutsche Gesellschaft für Projektmanagement. It's the German organization for project management, and they've got standards you wouldn't imagine. Missing resources at the project start is number 2. So they start a project without resources. Okay. And insufficient project planning is number 3. So look, I don't go through the others, but I've got 3 messages for you. Message number 1, and listen carefully. Message number 1, this is all bullshit. And sorry for my French, it's all bullshit. These are all symptoms. Yeah? Number 2, a missing or the wrong project management methodology is at number 8. Yeah, you can see that here. A missing PM methodology. So you could learn project management as a method. You become certified PMP or any other certification that is out there. At the end, it's just the reason number 8 why projects are failing. But as I said, it's all bullshit. Number 3, this is good for you. The project manager doesn't even show up on that slide. So no matter what you do, you're not the reason why the project is failing. Which is a great message to all of us, isn't it? So yes, give yourself a big hand, come on. Very good. So I've brought 5 examples and 5 different reasons why projects are failing. And I took examples that I deeply hope that they have been recognized by you. And of course, the first one is a look into our own backyard in Germany. This is the airport that has not been opened and probably will never be opened. It's Berlin-Brandenburg. Who heard about this project in the Ukraine or in this room? Oh, at least 10. Great. It's the project in Germany that is the most talked about, especially from Berlin, and you will hear from that. We've got some people from Berlin in this room. Who's from Berlin? There you go. One person, because the others are still stuck in Berlin. They couldn't come here because there's no airport. I mean, we build tunnels, right? We build airports in Frankfurt, in Munich. We know how this shit works. But it didn't work here. And they're currently discussing that they still don't have an open date yet. And this is one of the melon status projects, right? 2 weeks before the opening, the planned opening, which was like 3 or 4 years ago, something like that, or 2013, thank you. 2 weeks ago, the responsible project sponsor as well as the responsible project manager, they sat in front of the public. You know, they did a huge press conference and they said, we're going to be live in 2 weeks' time, be prepared. Overnight, it switched from green, yes, we can do it, to red. And they're still not open 4 years later. And what they're currently discussing is whether they should tear down this building. I mean, this is the parking lot, forget about this, yeah? But they tear down the building. Because there's so much mess in that building that it's the best way to tear it all down and build it entirely new. Probably would solve the problems. So what happened here? And it all started, and you will never find these kind of reasons in your statistics. It started because somebody that was in charge, thank you, somebody, I will never meet that time frame. I will not deliver on my, All right, so there was somebody, she just hold up a sign saying 15 minutes. And I'm just, 20% my presentation. No, I'm just kidding. He said, I would like to have a different floor. That's what he said. More expensive. I would like marble, like marble, right? And not the cheap stone. This is how it all started, because what was the case? Marble was more expensive than the original floor that they've planned for. So what has happened? There is not more money. So they had to come up with cheaper resources, cheaper material, and this whole thing started to collapse. This is how it all started, because somebody wanted a different floor. So if it starts small and you're not acting and you're not sensing, it might become a huge fuck up. That's the Berlin-Brandenburg airport. So look out carefully what happened with Berlin. You know whether we have an airport in 5 years in Berlin or not. I mean, they've got 3 other ones, like small ones, and one has been closed down already, right, and became a public field. So, project number 2, Stuttgart 21. Who has heard about this project? Or at least like 3 or 4? So, Stuttgart 21 is a very famous train station in Stuttgart, which is a major city in Germany. Everything well planned, blah, 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 but it's a super fuck up. It started 2 years late from the delivery perspective. And why was that? Because the people of Stuttgart, once they realized that they need to tear down this wonderful building, they went out on the street and said, you're not going to tear down this building. So what's the message? And you know, police and dead people and stuff like that because of that building. So what's the lesson from that? It's if you do not look after the damages that a project causes, and now listen carefully, if it's delivered successfully, you might have a fuck up. They didn't look at the damages that this project caused, tearing down this building so carefully that they didn't inform the public. They didn't go out and tell them, look, we need to tear this down. We're going to build a new one, which is nice and shiny, da, 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 da. This building was teared down as part of the project. So they delivered successfully, but they got a huge shitstorm by the people that lived in Stuttgart, which delayed the entire thing by 2 years. And it's, of course, still not ready, and it's, you know, another $500 million more expensive than they planned, and this is just the first wave, so we can watch this carefully as well. Toll Collect, who has heard about this one? I need to speed up, I know. Toll Collect. It's like a automatic money collecting system at German highways. And you know Germans, right? Self-sarcasm. We are perfectionists, we want to do the best, we wanted to do everything, you know, super. So what happened here? Toll Collect was so complex that they weren't able to manage the complexity. And there's one model that I would like to show you real brief. It's based on the book Reinventing Project Management by Dov Dvir and Aaron Shenhar. Write this down, fantastic book, and it's called The Diamond Approach to Project Management. There are 4 areas. And if they would have looked at this diamond, technology, super high tech, all automatic, you know, trucks are driving through bridges and they charged automatically. The complexity was super. The pace, of course, fast and competitive, and it was a platform novelty. So if they would have looked at this diamond and managed the complexity accordingly, probably the project would have delivered on time. At the end, it was 3 years delayed. Dreamliner 787. Heard about this one? They have been grounded, they have been 3 years late. What happened here? They changed too much at one time. Boeing used to build planes by doing most of the parts that are needed to build a plane on their own. But they changed that concept because of outsourcing. We heard that, right? Outsourcing was possible, so they had thousands of suppliers that they need to contract it with, that they need to align from their quality, that need to deliver on time for this Dreamliner. So they totally underestimated the complexity by that change. 3 or 5 years delayed, grounded for, I think, almost a year. You know, there were like 30 or 50 planes out there already that have been grounded because of that wrong or false battery. So the complexity as well as what has changed as part of the project setup, and I showed you the 13 flatteners for the reason, had led to that course. Yeah, and who has seen this picture? Yeah, so most of us, the Challenger catastrophe. What happened here is that a single ring, you know, caused that explosion, but the reason why it was not identified, actually it was, yeah, and the alarm signals were going on already 2 weeks before before the launch, but it never reached the decision makers due to the fact that the communication was far too complex because of the hierarchy, because of the organizational structure, and because of the teams. That's caused that catastrophe. So bottom line, small waves might become big storms. Consider the damages that a project might cause if it's delivered successfully. Know your beast and never underestimate the complexity. Do not change too much at a time, and team communication. So where do you find these reasons here? Do you think that Dreamliner or the Berlin-Brandenburg Airport it started with unclear requirements? Not at all. Do you think that missing resources at the project start were the case? Not at all. But wait, there's one more reason. It's not just the 5, and they were just examples based on projects that have had a fuck off over the last couple of years. There's one more reason, and this reason can change everything. And this is you. As a project manager, you're in charge. You can change things. You can sense things. Or you can say, no, that project's not for me. Because I know it's going to be a fuck up. So there are options. And you're in the driver's seat as a project manager. You're responsible. And don't tell anybody else that there is somebody accountable, which is the project sponsor. It's you. You're in the driver's seat. So what would you have done in these cases? In that case, probably you would have said, no, I don't want bigger tiles or more expensive tiles. Stop that. We've got something and it's all aligned, we're never going to deliver. Yeah? So think about what would you have done in these cases as the responsible project manager. So I need to congratulate you again. Because you are here. And you are one step forward to anybody else that is not here. Because you want to grow and learn. You want to understand new things, techniques. You want to speak to others, learn from others. That's why you're here, hopefully. And I could give you that hard advice. Grow and learn constantly. And don't go, and I'm glad that it's not on the list today. Don't go into these lectures where they tell you this is the communication plan we have compiled by introducing an intranet to a university. Forget about it. Yeah, it's the 100th communication plan that you will see out there. Or don't go into these lectures, and they're not on the list here because they've smartly been picked, where they discuss the additional fields within a risk management process or structure, and you've got already 40 fields that you need to fill, right? And there are project managers out there who can discuss for days about these fields. So look outside your comfort zone. Look at other areas where you can learn. For me, I've trained myself over 100 days in the last 3 years. Every day, every year I go on at least 30 days of training, and they're not project management trainings. I educate myself as a coach. I do graphical facilitation. I do strategy and innovation because some things fuck up before the project gets even started. So this is the stuff that I train for. Yeah, outside the comfort zone, because outside the comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. This is where you grow yourself. So these are 3 other roles that I'm in. I'm a passionate paraglider. On the left-hand side in February, I flew on the biggest dunes in Namibia, 400 meters high. This has been done by a handful of people. I'm a long-distance hiker as well as a trail runner. And this is after 4 days, 160 kilometers and 10,000 meters in height. I traversed the Alps in an event. Do you think that I could have done that 10 or 15 years ago? No, I couldn't. I've grown myself. I stepped outside my comfort zone constantly to achieve these goals. And it's the same with your profession. Step outside your comfort zone because that's where the magic happens. Yeah? Gain new experience and grow your comfort zone. Yesterday I was on a run for 20 Ks at noon. Would I have done that 10 years ago? No. Right now it's a training run. 20 Ks, training run. That's my comfort zone. But I've grown into that. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to grow. Step outside. Go into the stretch zone. If you go into the stress zone, you might have a bad experience. So just stretch it. And you're here to stretch, which is fantastic. So some other impulses. What do people need? And this is important because it was one of the biggest lessons I learned like 5 years ago from one of my former managers. Imagine there are peoples, and there are 3 things that you need to give people so that they feel comfortable, that they feel home, that they are working to their best. First thing is, 3 minutes, fuck. Sorry. First thing is collaboration and cooperation. You need to give them an environment where they're able to speak to each other, where they're able to collaborate with each other. And if you've got a spread team, do telephone conferences, do whatever kind of stuff so that people are able to communicate to each other. Number 2 is, while they communicate and collaborate with each other, they will have learnings. They will have aha moments. So give them the opportunity to get aha moments. And number 3, and we're all good at that as project managers, you need to give them structure. Structure is certain routines. You know, if you do your team meeting in 1 week on a Monday between 9 and 10, the next week on Tuesday at noon, the week after that again on Monday but in the evening, people will not be able to function. You need to give them structure. Wednesday 9 to 10, that's the slot, and it's non-negotiable. So think about in your environment where you have established a setting where they can collaborate, where they can create learnings, where you could provide them structure. Sharpen your senses. You know this thing with Berlin-Brandenburg and all the others. Sense, reflect, act. Always take the helicopter view and look on your structure, look on your team, look at your project, and try to identify what's happening. And then you reflect that's what's happening, and you might need to act. I need about 2 more minutes. Is that okay? Yeah, all right. I always say that. In 2 minutes, I will say I need another 2 minutes, another 2 minutes. It's like at Disney. Do you know in Disney? You know where you walk the line for the roller coaster and say, oh, it's ending there at the corner. Okay, you go to the corner. Boom. Another corner. Oh, shit. All right. You walk there. Chuck, another corner. At the end, you waited for 2 hours. So be prepared. You're going to sit here at 11. Oh, it's already 11. It's my clock here. Didn't change it. All right, so apply and act. So I would like to give you my 9 core principles of project management. This is how I work. This is how I act. This is my core. These are my values. So take them as impulses, copy them, whatever you want to do. So first of all, I've got a huge passion to deliver. If you're a project manager, you need to be in there. You need to have the will to deliver your project, whatever it is. Wait with your photo. There are 2 more coming. Second is, have an empathy. Make people laugh. Be part of the team. Communicate. Be an approachable guy. Number 3, focus on the core. What's the core of your project? What's the overarching mission and theme? But still be able to dive into the details. If somebody approaches you, say, I have a problem, and you just stick to the surface, you won't gain authority. Go down, dive deep. Number 5, sense, reflect, act. We covered that already. Be visible, walk the floor. Yeah, be out there. Don't hide in your room. Yeah, be visible out there. Be an approachable manager. And walk the talk. Do what you tell them they should do. Be a role model. If you say you need to be on time at 9 o'clock at the jour fix, and you're always 5 minutes late, it's not the way how to approach it. There's no excuses. Do not let your leadership erode. If somebody is stepping outside the line you've set, get them back on track. You're the leader. You're the boss. You're the one who's responsible. And feel like that, and make others feel that. And the last one, have integrity. Everybody I talked to this morning, they're with their company for years, which is great on one thing because you show integrity to everybody out there. So my last advice is, because I skipped the last story to make the Q&A session, is if you are going through hell, keep on going. Thank you very much. Yes.
Hi, it was a great actually lecture. So my question is, what do you do as your first steps when you identified that watermelon status of the project?
You will learn that at 4:30 in my workshop. Because the first thing that I do is either a quick or long analysis. I try to look behind the scenes of the project. Yeah, because what you see is front stage, it's green, it's blah, blah, blah. And then the first things are coming up and you would like to understand the reasons, because otherwise you're working on the symptoms. Yeah, so at 4:30 I'm talking about project health checks, how to endeavor or how to unveil that, and that's where we're going real deep. Who's got the green stripes? Whoa, I'm gonna see you at 4:30, fantastic. And I think the green stripes are gone already, so the other one's hard luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is, what was the most complicated thing within your projects?
The most complicated things in my project. It's not complicated, but it's the hard yards at the beginning. As a turnaround manager, you step into a project and, there's fires everywhere. And there are two things. One is to understand the complexity, to understand the project, get known to everybody by fighting the fires, but going to the root cause. That is always the hardest part at the beginning, where you really have to go the extra mile. So especially if you're taking a project over, for example, understand how you are engaging with people. Yeah, I've got one value, which is never eat alone. Yeah, in projects, I never eat alone. I always take people out. I always collaborate. I always try to inform myself and to understand what the beast looks like. And of course, this complexity rises depending on the size of the project. Yeah, and you need to go through all the hierarchies. Don't just talk to the top shots. Go deep. Talk to the developers down there. Talk to the testers, whatever project it may be. And really structure your first couple of days and weeks, to understand that if you're taking over a project. In a regular project, I always say, it depends. Yeah, does that give a little bit of a glimpse? Yeah, to your, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up the embarrassing Berlin Airport example.
Self-reflection, yes. Yeah. He's asking how shall we save Berlin-Brandenburg. I'm not that close because everybody who's part of that project signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, and I tried to step away from that project, not getting involved. Probably the best thing is to tear the whole thing down and build it entirely new, because we've shown that as a Gesellschaft. What's that in English? As a society. Yeah, it's not just German. It's just everybody. Yeah. That we are capable on delivering fantastic projects out there. Like 5 years ago, Al Buraj, wie this thing heißt there, the highest tower in Dubai. I mean, it's built on sand, and it's 900 meters high. Yeah, when we built the World Trade Center, which has already been, it's not there anymore, the time they signed off that project that they're going to build the Twin Towers, the steel that was required to build these towers wasn't even invented. Yeah, and I'm sure that we had the same things in Dubai. Yeah, then the Gotthard Tunnel has just been opened a couple of weeks ago. 57 kilometers of tunnel through a massive mountain. It's been done, yeah, and it's been delivered before schedule and below budget. So as a society, because it's not just the Swiss who've built it. I mean, everybody, as I said, with these flatteners, everybody is involved. It's not just the Swiss who's, did this tunnel. There's so many people from the world have collaborated and delivered that project. So as a society, we were able to build these kind of projects. But there were some fuck-ups in Berlin. My advice would be just, don't try to fix it, just start new. And it's just the building. It's not the runway. It's not the hotels beside that. It's just the building, because at the end, it's the Brandschutzanlage. It's the fire defense system that's in the building that is causing the sign-off of that. Plus that every year you wait, the entire structure, falls apart. Look at the places right now. In the hotels that should have opened 4 years ago, somebody has to walk around every single day to open and close windows so that air is circulating in the building. Otherwise, they have to renovate it in a couple of years. Yeah. To ventilate them. Yeah. So, yeah. Do we have another question? Yes, sir. There is a microphone here on the second row.
Hi.
All right, yeah. You can
Can I
take
ask
my...
a question?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was focused
so
on...
actually, Girl asked probably the same as I would like to do. So my question will be a bit another. So can you please share your experience in regards stats, probably percentage of delivery successfully, and I think that probably there are some projects those were not really.
Yeah, the percentage,
and
I wouldn't say it's 50-50. But every turnaround project that I've done is like a year or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but for example, probably you can share some tricks. What is your experience? What are the singles symptoms to close a project and communicate clearly that you are not able to deliver in time and so on? So
Yeah, it's probably a broad
I'm
question.
sorry, it is a difficult question.
Yeah, a difficult question for right now. I just have to say, there is this workshop on Sunday, Monday, where we're going to talk about this. I'm not sure whether you are able to attend this, as well as maybe this afternoon at 4:30, and we can cover a little bit of that. Yeah, because otherwise it would just run out of time. Yeah. Sorry for that. Another question here.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for presentation.
Thank you.
At the moment, then, project sponsors and other stakeholders realize that the project is red. They have to do something. Probably they change project manager, and they become more flexible at this moment.
Yeah.
How to make them flexible in the beginning?
That's a good
Because
question.
they start to listen, they start to hear a project manager, then the project is red, and they realize it.
That's a very good question. Because it's a symptom, or it's a given, so to speak, that if everybody realized that this project is in shit or in deep shit, or might become in deep shit, and the momentum, the energy, the drive, the engagement is far different than at the beginning. What I realized is, and that's a personality thing, if you are able to create a momentum, if you're able to create a vision and show people the island that they should ship to, and not tell them how to build the ships. Give them a vision, give them a mission why they do that project. I said knowledge is for free. It's one rule. The second is the value is in the how, but the power is in the why. And if you are able to create a powerful why behind your project, you will maintain the momentum that is at the beginning of a project. Thank you.
Thank you, Torsten.